Choo choo! Chugga 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 chugga! Ah! Millions are dead!
If I sound weird, I apologize. It's because right now it's time for my afternoon beer, and I might be a little bit tipsy. Also, I literally just finished the recording session with Relentless Zen. He says hi.
Yeah, so.
So what's up with you?
Nothing much, man. Just finished making some hot dogs. Not gonna lie though, I was actually very, very surprised when you hit me up to do this interview. I
Did
was
you think
like,
I was not gonna follow up?
huh?
Did you think I wasn't gonna follow up, or what?
I honestly, okay, so here's the thing with a lot of content creators, right? So like, I usually assume like when I message, like here's what happens. When I message a lot of content creators, what happens is like people don't really ever say anything back or like ever really talk to me back sometimes. So I'm just like, I guess they're busy or doing their own thing. So I usually just like leave most content creators alone. But yeah, when you hit me up, you're like, yo, you want to do that interview? I was like, oh, I was not expecting that. I thought you were like done with the interviews and just did the interviews with your friends and
Oh
stuff.
God,
And
no, God, no! I'm just fucking lazy, man. Like people have been asking me. No, seriously, people were asking me like, "Yo, what happened to the Trainwreck? Did you stop doing it?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just lazy."
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel that. Like, I have this meme on my server, right, about my upload schedule, right? So basically, right, people were like, "Yo, shut the fuck up, Volt," because I say I'll be active, right, and I'll be like, I'll try to be more active on YouTube and everything, and I'll upload like twice for a single week or something. Actually, no. All right, so basically, I'll upload like once a month, right? Right? And people started to catch on after a while when I did that, like upload only like once or twice a month, right? And then I'll upload like 2 or 3 times a week, and then people will be like, hold on a minute, this is not the real VoltTheHero. Volt only uploads once a month, right? And I got people fucking memeing on my server saying like, oh yeah, you should go back to the one upload every 2 month schedule. You that suits you better. That seems like the real VoltTheHero and stuff. People were just fucking memeing on my schedule all the time. It's crazy.
I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, Triburos gets away with uploading like once a month.
Exactly, because he gets so many views. He just gets like, "Hi, I'm Triburos." Fucking 500,000 views. I'm like, all right, cool, nice. So yeah.
So, what's been your experience with Warframe so far? I'm assuming you've been playing Deadlock Protocol and stuff.
Yeah, I've been playing Warframe for like a long time, you know what I mean? With the Deadlock Protocol that came out, definitely felt like a breath of fresh air, if I'm being honest. Like it like it wasn't like all the other updates that we had that were like just grind this and then you're done. It had like a lot more to offer. We had like a nice little quest and stuff. We got a new decent frame. Now, she isn't the greatest frame out there, but she's definitely something quite a bit unique from most other frames. I think one thing I was like starting to hate with a lot of the frames that we were getting is how they were like really similar to other past frames. Like for example, you got like Garuda and like Revenant. Like Revenant has a lot of similarities to both Nyx and what else? What's the other person's name? Nyx and Necros. And then you had like Garuda, who's similar to, let's see here, like Trinity and Volt and Nova. Like, so definitely with Protea, she seemed like a bit more unique. So it was definitely pretty neat. But Deadlock Protocol, it isn't the best update. It had some minor glitches along the way. I would say the farm or the new event thing is a little bit like a little wonky, you know what I mean? But otherwise, I think it is definitely better than what we've been getting so far. You know what I mean?
True.
So I'm hoping that like, you know, DE works on like what they've been DE works more towards making the game better. And we've kind of both made this point already, but I think instead of, you know, adding more and more content, definitely focus on what we have now. And they're kind of doing that. I'm hoping they could still, you know, get Railjack to where it needs to be. Because honestly, when I was at TennoCon, I was one of those people who were really excited for like Railjack because I was there. Like I was actually there at the event, right? TennoCon 2018.
Oh, lucky.
When they first showed off. Yeah, when they first showed off like the Railjack, I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, this looks so cool. Oh man, I was so excited for it. And then when it came, I was like, whoa, this is underwhelming. You know what I mean? So definitely didn't have that same sort of feeling. So I'm really hoping they could like, make it what it was supposed to be. And I think they're starting to do stuff like that as well with like also like this is not exactly too much game related, but they are trying to like work on other things. For example, the Warframe partner program, they're trying to like reset that up. But
Oh yeah, they already killed that.
yeah. Yeah, they killed the partner program, but like they're gonna like make a new one. So I'm just trying to see like how that's gonna work because they're trying to make everything better. But at the same time, excuse me, at the same time, I also kind of have like my doubts about what they're doing because it feels like obviously, wait, is this the interview is on right now, right?
Yep.
Or okay, yeah. So I feel like I don't want to mention any content creators. I know everyone's gonna know who I'm talking about, but
Obviously.
like yeah, but there are certain content creators in the Warframe like partner or used to be partner or just whatever. And it's ridiculous how DE they would rather destroy the entire partnership thing rather than deal with those people and remove them. It's crazy. It's like, wow, you're telling me that they have that much power where they will just refuse to get rid of them. It's like, wow, okay. That's something special. But yeesh. But I feel like they're trying to work on it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like they're the worst company ever. I think Deadlock Protocol was definitely more of like definitely something that they've tried to like make better, more of a bit of a fresh air sort of thing. But yeah, we'll see like what happens in the next update. They're gonna be talking about stuff at TanoCon, so curious. I have to actually make a video on that, but I think that's where they're gonna release like the new war and stuff like that. I'm hoping that they do a good job of that, and it's not like a repeat of like what was it, the war thing, which was like a really disappointing to a lot of people because of how long the wait was. So I'm hoping that with the long wait, we've like how long we've had to wait. I'm hoping that they really do make the new war like really really good. But yeah, I guess it's more of like a we'll see sort of thing. But that log protocol did give some hope, so we'll definitely see what the year has to bring.
That is something that I can kind of understand the point. I can get the line of thinking of, oh, they just deleted the entire partner program because they didn't want to deal with like one or two people. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I think even though I'm also pretty skeptical and hopeful at the same time for the creator program, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure that was like the smartest thing they could have done because, yeah, realistically speaking, if they just like outright booted me from the program, everyone would be like screaming down D right now because I
Yeah.
literally didn't even do anything to break the rules, technically speaking. At the same time, if they outright just booted Rob from the program, you know for a fact he'll be on Twitter right now complaining about like, oh, D's homophobic or something like that. And because of how
Mm-hmm.
Twitter works right now, you know that hashtag Warframe is over party would be trending by now if that were a thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
so honestly, if you ask me, even though I'm still pretty skeptical of the whole thing, I do agree that the smartest approach they had was honestly just press a reset button, boot everyone out, have new rules put in, let artists and capture artists into the program as well, excuse me, and basically just have a whole new rule set to judge people because they also said that they're going to let people into the program based on how they fit into the new rules instead of past interactions, quote unquote.
Yeah, yeah. Well, definitely we'll just have to like really see what happens, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it'll become a whole flop. I'm not too sure. Like the idea of it definitely does seem good because honestly, there is so many content creators they had to remove anyway. Because first, not only do you have like people who are like considered toxic in the Warframe like partner or Warframe content creator community. You got partners that don't even make like content for the game anymore. Got partners who like made one video, for example, like Skill Up. Like he made one video and then all of a sudden he became a partner and he hasn't done anything Warframe related since. You get what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I think probably just like recreating the entire thing just from like scratch is maybe best, but I'm just curious to see what they do with it. My only slight worry is that we're gonna have the same issue that we had like today with the partner where it's just so many partners, so many people not doing anything, a bunch of whatever toxic people, whatever. I feel like it's gonna be the same thing again because with this new content creator thing that they're doing, I forgot what the title was that they're giving it,
It was just
but
a creator program.
Oh yeah, creator program. They're making it easier for people to enter, which means that like more people can enter now. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, weren't you trying to avoid that? I don't know. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you have any views on that, but I feel like it's just gonna make things slightly worse. But hey, maybe it might make things great. I don't know. So we'll definitely see. But then again, I heard someone, I don't know who it was. I heard someone told me that they're probably gonna make it into like a tier list. I don't know if that's true. Like, I think the higher up you are, the better tiers that you get. So that way, it's like you have like certain levels of this whole content creator partnership. But I'm not really too sure about that. Honestly, when it really comes down to it, I just have to wait and see what they do with this whole thing, and just really just hope for the best. But it's right now it's seeming like it's like a 50-50, you know what I mean? It seems like a good idea. And that's been Warframe's biggest issue. It seems like a good idea, but how is the execution of it gonna be? You know what I mean? So I guess you have to see for that. So yeah.
Honestly, fucking God, I lost my train of thought for a second there. But I'm, but I was picturing the entire time while you were talking. I was formulating what I was gonna say, and I just fucking lost it because I'm retarded. But
It's all right.
anyway, in regards to the creator program, I mean, I like how they're opening it up to make it easier for people to enter, mostly artists and capture artists. But at the same time,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that has its own set of problems because I absolutely love how they're giving artists a chance to enter the program because there's like a lot of people on
Yeah.
Twitter that make Warframe art like all the time, and good for them honestly because I like that stuff. Captura
Yeah,
artists,
me too.
I'm a little bit more on that because how do you exactly call yourself a Captura artist? Like if I were to like screenshot my Warframe right now in Captura and put it on YouTube or something and do that for a month on end, could I call myself a Captura artist even if I have like no actual skill to speak of?
Then again, I don't know. That's a very like sort of controversial topic. You know, a lot of people would disagree. I guess it's that depends on the way you look at it. I've met with certain capture artists, and they spend a lot of time on these videos. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's someone named Ludens who spends like hours, days, sometimes even a whole month working on a capture of video,
Yeah, I've
and
seen them.
basically it's because like, yeah. So basically, I think the skill behind it is first you got to make sure like your graphics are really nice and on point, right? I think that is some. I think it's more like just an eye thing and what your taste is. I don't know if that's really like a skill. Some probably will disagree with me on that, but it seems more like what your taste is. I don't really think you need like a skill for that, but maybe you do. Maybe you do. Maybe because you know artists they have an eye for certain things. You know what I mean? So I guess you could compare it like that. But yeah, I know some capture artists use reshade and all that, or like really hook up their like look of the video in their editing software and that. Some really spend a lot of time on their fashion frame, but really, is it really skill though? I don't really know. I just think it's more like just having an eye for certain things and just really taking a lot of time. So I'm not really too sure, honestly. But then again, I'm not really a capture artist, so I cannot speak on their behalf. But mm,
Yeah,
hmm,
neither am I.
mm, mm,
But
mm.
at the same time, with regards to the creator program, although again, I still like how they're opening it up for more people. Although what
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not really fond of is because they're letting more people into it, obviously they're gonna have more people in the program overall because suddenly we have more artists and stuff in the program itself.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
unless I misunderstood what they were talking about with the program, uh, literally everyone who is in the program is getting day one access and all that stuff, like as we did in the partner program, meaning, excuse me, that everyone would then be under NDA. So how do you exactly enforce an NDA when you have way more
Yeah.
people than last time without something going wrong? Especially now, since it's easier to enter the program. And honestly, if you ask me, once they actually launch this creator program in summer, I think they said, once they actually launch it, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have at least 200 applicants. And how are you going to enforce that? Because for the partner program alone, when it was around, we had total like 170 partners, give or take, including partners who don't speak English. And you know for a fact that at least 100 of them are going to reapply. I can tell you that right off the bat right now. And if you're
Yeah.
throwing artists into the mix, not just regular artists, but capture artists as well, and people who make podcasts, and people who have fan websites, you're looking at least 200, maybe 300 total creators. So,
There's a lot of people.
yeah, enforcing an NDA is going to be a lot harder, if you ask me. And
I think
also,
on top of that,
yeah, with what you said about tiers, I actually have not.
Mhm.
I haven't heard anything about that until now, so I'm assuming that's just a rumor because even I haven't heard anything
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
mostly it's a most likely a rumor. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm not really too sure about that. As in, like, let's just wait and see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But speaking of, I was shoot, I literally just had a train of thought. Sheesh, I literally just had it. It disappeared. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So then, yeah. On top of that, since they're making it easier for people to enter, it makes you think like, if people are gonna find out, oh, you could get day one access by just reaching like these minimum goals. You know what I mean? Imagine how many people on top of that are gonna just start trying to create content and just try to apply. So that means like even more applicants, and then like, what is D gonna be overloaded at that point? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know. And honestly, I guess from like a gameplay and business perspective as well, if you have so many people like getting free stuff instantly, that means like less playtime for the game. You know that, right? It's like if like everyone gets to have a frame for free, you know what I mean? No one's gonna really spend time grinding it or whatever. They're gonna just level it up and that's gonna be it. You know what I mean? Which is like less playtime for like on like Warframe's end. So I really don't know how it's gonna work out for them, but hopefully someone figures out something with that.
Also, at the same time, they said that they want to make it less of a quote unquote stressful environment where you could basically upload without a problem. But one thing I never really understood by that is why couldn't they just have updated the rules for the partner program as like personally, I think it would have been better if they updated the rules for the partner program like completely, while at the same
Yeah.
time also allowing artists to apply for the program. Because throwing it out entirely and having like brand new rules and all this just seems a little bit excessive in my opinion. I'm not against it. It just seems a little excessive.
That actually reminds me of something. Did you see when they were talking about when they wanted to make partners be closer to one another? You know what I mean?
I have
Do you remember
not.
seeing anything about that?
When was
Oh,
this?
okay, well, this was like more so in the partner Discord itself when they were like all talking and everything. So I think there were a couple people like Iflin and I think Jizo and a couple people talking about like how and even another YouTuber, I think Rio was talking about this in the video where like they wanted the partners to be more closer to each other rather than having like their own little groups or anything like that. And they want to fix that and make it something where all the partners are closer to each other in the next thing that they have. But I honestly don't see how that will work at all. I mean, like, I don't think any rule could really enforce that, like people working together or being closer to each other. It really comes down to the people if you think about it. Like, I like, you know what I mean? Like if like for example, like I don't think that you and the gay guy players are all of a sudden gonna get super close when this new content creator thing comes up. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't really know how they want to enforce that because Taylor was also talking about that with the partners, like trying to make something closer. But it's just like I don't really know how you would do that. You know what I mean? People have conflicting personalities already. You got some like YouTubers who don't like really align with each other. You know what I mean? So it's just like, exactly how do you plan on doing that? You know what I mean? And there was also another thing that I saw that I really wasn't sure about. I was like, so another content creator was talking about how they should have a place where you could complain about other content creators. And I was like, no, that's a very bad idea because that would lead to like a lot of like spitefulness on top of that. So it's just like, you know, a lot of ideas that people were giving, it just seems kind of like off in a sense. And I don't know if D will listen to it and take it, because if they do take some of those ideas, I can see the new partner thing really taking like a really dropping, like really going down lower and lower, like probably lower than like what we've had in the partner Warframe partner program. But Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are in that, but it's yeah, a lot of those things that they're trying to enforce don't seem too bright, honestly. But we'll see.
That is something that I think Ashitaki Tenno did bring up when I was doing the live stream with him and
Mhm.
Sabuchi and the others a year or two ago. Was it's weird how, or actually not weird. It's just like not really normal, you can call it, how we have like literally over 100 different Warframe partners, but like barely any collaboration to speak of. I mean, for the
Mhm.
creator program, sure, I guess it would be fine if they tried to make people try to collaborate with each other more often. But going about it, like you said, I have no idea how they would even do that. And assuming that they even accept me and Rob, would I collaborate with him? God, no, I would not. I would rather drink bleach, just because every single every interaction I've had with him outside of YouTube, like on Twitter and stuff, and in game, no, I absolutely would not. I don't disagree with
Right,
him.
got you.
Not as a I don't disagree with him as a person. I don't watch his content. He's just one of those I would absolutely never collaborate with, just because of every single interaction I've had with him, regardless of whatever
Yeah.
happens in the future, honestly. But everyone else, sure, why not? And kind of like how Asher Sakateno said in the live stream I did with him, that not many people really work with each other. So in terms of Warframe consecration, like, sure, you kind of see it. Like Shy does art streams with DK Diamantes and other people like MGL Blaze,
Yeah.
and every once in a while a D employee, maybe Brozyme, maybe Tactical Potato, something like that. But otherwise, the closest, in my opinion, the closest thing we have to collaboration is how Zeno Gillian invites people from the community onto his 10 o'clock podcast. Otherwise, there's nothing, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's very true. That's just because a lot of these content creators have like their own like little personal circles, and it's very difficult to get in. Like for example, you got like the OG, Warframe YouTubers, and they pretty much have their own circle. You know what I mean? You don't really see a lot of the new content creators hanging around with them. Like you wouldn't see like, let's see, who's an example of like a new upcoming content creator, like Nightmare
Gaz
Frame, for example,
or
or
Gaz TTV.
Oh yeah, like Gaz. Yeah, for example, yeah, Gaz, 100% like Gaz. You wouldn't see him with like Tactical Potato and Quiet Shy. You know what I mean? Because everyone has like their own little group. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, it's very difficult for like content creation collabs.
Yeah. There was one point in the past where I did try collaboration with a bigger content creator, but it did not
Right.
fucking work out at all. Because what happened was a year or two ago, I think it was at least a year ago, I was making a video talking about armor scaling and stuff like that. And because I was
Yeah.
talking about armor, I figured it would be a good idea to ask Tactical Potato if he could provide some voice stuff since he plays Chroma. And I'm like, hey, I'm making a video about armor. He plays Chroma. He's all about armor. Maybe he'd want to collaborate or something. So I sent
Hmm.
him an email. I was like, "Yo, I'm making a video about armor. I'm aware you play Chroma and you like Chroma. So I was wondering if you wanted to like read a script I came up with real quick. If you want to get paid, that's fine. We can negotiate payment. I don't really care about price. Just tell me what your price is. But just let me know if you're interested." And he never replied.
Yeah, that's also an issue. Yeah, like content creators not replying. That's also an issue trying to like, because you don't want to become like an annoyance either. You know what I mean? Which is why like if I message a content creator about like certain content or whatever, they don't respond. I usually just leave them alone completely. You know what I mean? And not like not that I hate them or anything. It's just because I don't want to like come off as an annoyance or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's why I personally don't reach out to a lot of content creators because that's usually what happens. They just end up like not responding. So it's like, okay. So I usually just leave other content creators if they really want to. If they want me to do something with them, like I'll leave them to hit me up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've said you know what I mean like so many times. You know what I mean?
It's kind of a.
My
I
God.
was gonna say it's a meme at this point.
You know what I mean? Like,
You know, actually, if you want me to be 100% honest, that's what I'm gonna put for the description of this video. Just so you know what I mean.
Oh my goodness. I don't know why I have such a habit of saying that. Like I let go of that when I was a kid, and then all of a sudden I just started doing that again. I'm just like, yeah, so how you doing? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I don't know why I'm doing that all of a
Like,
sudden.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because there are people that have like verbal tics and stuff. But when I noticed
Exactly.
when I noticed
100%.
it, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a perfect fucking description.
Exactly. Oh my
Shit.
goodness.
Anyway, fucking. I'm assuming you've seen that video that Steve put out on the Warframe channel and stuff like that, talking about how TennoCon's delayed until August.
Yep.
Uh, especially that one part where he said that every single thing they show off at TennoCon, it's only going to be stuff that they release instead of how last year's TennoCon they showed off Railjack, where you could leave open world and go straight into Railjack, and then Railjack had Kuvaliches in them, and that was
Mm-hmm.
completely bullshit because when it came out, none of it was actually in the
100%.
game.
Yeah, none of that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Given how Steve basically said, if we show it off, we're actually going to do it.
Again, it's like it sounds cool, you know what I mean? But I have to wait until I see it. You know what I mean? And didn't they also say they wanted to like I don't know if this maybe I misinterpreted it, but they want to like show off things at TennoCon that they plan on releasing soon as well, not things that they're going to release in like another year or two? Or did I misunderstand that?
I don't remember honestly, and
Um
on TennoCon, personally, I'm expecting them to announce like the brand new broken Warframe that they're working on. Maybe have
yeah,
some concept art of Deviri Paradox or something else that's coming in the future. Maybe another cinematic for Deviri Paradox because it's been a while since we've heard anything about that. But
right.
otherwise, personally, I'm not expecting them to announce much since they have a lot on their plate already. And with
Yeah.
quarantine, working it from home is kind of a pain to deal with anyway.
Honestly, I was thinking about this. I'm just thinking, like, just based on what I said earlier about like what they're gonna release soon. I think the big thing, the big reveal will be like the new war. Not necessarily that, but like more so like the release date for it because it's been some time. It's been quite a lot of time. We've had like what is it, three prologue quests for it now. So I think that might be the big reveal at TennoCon. Like, well, guys, everybody, guess what? Tomorrow, New War is coming. You know what I mean? But they might surprise us with something else. You know what I mean? Oh my god. Anyways, you have but there is a possibility they might also show off like something new for the Deviri Paradox as well. But honestly, I don't think they've been really working on Deviri Paradox at all. Like you said, they probably just might show off another trailer or some cinematic art or something like that. But really, I'm leaning more towards the new war because that's been the whole big thing for the past 2 years. We've also been getting events based around that. We had Scarlet Spear that was apparently based around the new war. We've had again 3 prologue quests, so I'm assuming that would probably be the big reveal, but we'll see. Hoping that they do stick with their word, like you said, when they actually show off stuff, it is what it's going to be. And yeah, I'm just really hoping because it seems like I said earlier in this interview, they're trying to work towards making the game better. It seems like they're trying to listen to people. But honestly, like if it really comes down to anything, I feel like they should have, and I've said this like in a video that you actually posted on your channel, where they should have like listened to people beforehand rather than taking too long because it seems like they've yeah, like a lot of issues they have today could have been like avoided. Like for example, if the whole Railjack like, not looking that great or whatever when it like was finally released. Feel like a lot of stuff like that could have been um completely avoided, especially with stuff of the partner Discord as well, if they just listened to content creators in the past. But honestly, we would just really have to see what they do with this TennoCon. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping, based on what we've seen in Dialogue Protocol, that they're going to work towards making better content throughout the months, especially with what they show at TennoCon. So we'll see. Honestly,
that was something that was kind of brought up yesterday when I was talking to Kevin Glint yesterday, who
Mhm.
basically he hasn't touched Warframe at all since February, which basically means that he's kind of missed out on Railjack. He didn't really do much with Kuvalich's, etc., 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 etc. And the most common thing he said when I was doing the recording session with him was he kind of just wishes alongside a lot of other people that DE would just make more quality of life updates rather than new content updates because again with
Mhm.
2020 having a lot of stuff we're waiting on right now, obviously all of it's going to be delayed because one, quarantine, and two, it's going to take a long time to make. It would be better to improve on the stuff we have now instead of trying to make something big and flashy 5 months from now, assuming it doesn't get delayed at all.
Yeah, 100%. We definitely have some frames that could use some work. I think definitely with a lot of the maps that we have, they could use some like changes as well. I made a video about this before, but they need to like change like the maps to make it more updated to today's perspective, as well as like probably the boss fights, changing those, focusing definitely on what we have now to make those better. Because I think we also what we need is like, you know how like people talk about saying that how we need like events and stuff to keep us entertained
Yeah.
until we get the next update. I feel like just focusing on the game itself and just changing most things that we have to be better would be sort of an event in itself, because there's so much stuff to discover and try out, you know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. Anyways, um I'm
Personally, I don't care if you say that. I just find it entertaining, so I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
it's just now I'm thinking about it because my comments are like always about that. They're like, you heard VoltTheHero say, you know what I mean, like 70 times in this video, and then people be like, yeah, I heard him or something. People do that in my Discord, so it's crazy. It's like I'm so aware of it now, man. I just can't help it. It's like, oh my goodness.
Is your Discord really that bad? Where they just like fucking bully you
my
over this?
discord my Discord bullies me every single day. You have no idea. I will talk and just simply say hello, and then people will be like, oh, look at this fuck over here named Volt the Hero, and then everyone will just start attacking me. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's all jokes, of course, but like I always get in a fight in my Discord server every single day. They got these people who know I hate this. So you got like these two members who like they'll be like showing me love, right? And they know I hate it, right? So they'll be like pats vote and like asterisks or something, or hugs vote or something. I'm like, yo, stop that. And they do it like every day because they know it irritates me, right? And I can't play Discord, man. I cannot.
You should just
But anyway,
delete your Discord. Fuck it.
nah, no way. I
Oh
love my
man.
Discord, but those people are some they're some little shits, man. I tell you. Uh, but anyways, yeah, definitely they should, yeah, definitely work on like what we have now. I feel like when they change a lot of the stuff we have now and make it better, it will definitely make the game a lot, just a lot more like, I don't know, eye-opening and fun, especially like with Railjack again. If they were to make that into what it was supposed to be, you know what I mean? I don't know how they will do that, especially if the way the liches are set up now. I really don't know how they will incorporate that. Like, I think if they want to make Railjack what it was supposed to be, they're gonna have to pull like a Final Fantasy and just like completely destroy it and restart it from what it's supposed to be. Um, into making it what it was supposed to be, I guess. But yeah, they really need to work on what we have.
Yeah, imagine if they made Warframe 2.
Oh man.
Personally, I would want them to do that just because the amount of stuff there is in game that they never really built on, and also a second game basically gives them the opportunity to have better development behind it, quote unquote. But by that I mean basically just have a better engine, better everything basically. And since it's not the original Warframe, they can do whatever they want with it, rather than the original Warframe, where how a lot of people have been saying fuck. What was the example I was going to use? Random question, or side question rather.
Okay.
Arcwing. What are your thoughts on it?
Arcwing. Something that again had a lot of potential, but turned out to be really meh. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
Anyways,
with Warframe 2, everything they have that has potential, quote unquote, they could build on and either improve in a sequel or just build upon in a sequel. Because if they made any
right.
radical changes in the original game, like Warframe, somebody would get mad about it. Because, for example, if they decided to improve the game by completely getting rid of the mod system and making the entire game different somehow, like if it's an upgrade system, a attachment system, a just equip and it has
Yeah.
flat stat system, someone probably the majority of the community will be upset about it because it will be a huge change after a long time of the game being active. So on an original game, you can't really get away with that, but in a sequel or a spin-off or something else like that, you kind of can because it's its own entry, although it's in the same universe.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking with Railjack though, speaking of that, I just honestly thought when Railjack came out, Arcwing was gonna have a lot more, potential, but it just kind of felt like the same. It just felt more like a you just get from one ship to another. It didn't really feel like anything new and special. Just felt like regular old Arcwing. So that was a little bit disappointing in my opinion. I was hoping with Arcwing, and you could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I honestly expected Arcwing to be like Star Wars. You know, in Star Wars, you have like those big ships that you could fly in, and then afterwards you get in those mini ships to like take on like the what are they called? Star Killers, whatever they're called. Um,
Star
those like
Destroyers.
big triangular, yeah, Star Destroyers. They got those big triangular ships and everything. Like I thought it was gonna be like that, but it wasn't. It was nothing like that. It was just like, okay, get off my Arcwing, get exploded a couple times, one shot it because I don't have the correct Arcwing for this. And then finally you reach the other ship so I could go inside and destroy it from the inside. But Arcwing, yeah, Arcwing had so much potential, but it just feels like, you know what I mean? It just feels more like a transport thing rather than an actual
Yep.
system. I don't know. Like a
It was
system in game.
it was arguably worse when it first came out because apparently it triggered a lot of people's like motion sickness or something like that. Like
Yep.
I personally never had that problem, but I know a lot of other people were like, I can't play this without physically feeling sick. So it was like, did they not like do any testing on this beforehand or what?
See, that's something I was actually thinking about literally the other day. I don't know. I think I saw this in like an interview or maybe when I was at TanoCon. I cannot remember, but I heard somewhere that, and this was like a long time ago, when I heard that DE has a group of people that test the game before it comes out, and they have several people that do that. And I was just thinking, I was like, I remember I heard that from someone. I'm like, but if you have so many people who test the game, why is this stuff so broken when it comes out? You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's it just is weird, you know. Honestly, at this point, us PC players are really the testers. Honestly, like I don't know who at DE really tests the stuff, but damn, we've had some broken updates before. Dang, it just makes you wonder, like, who let this go through? But then
Yeah.
again, it does make sense. Like with Railjack, they really want to get that out as quickly as possible because they see all these other games coming out. Like I think around then, Destiny 2 went free to play. Got all these other games releasing content, games being released, DLCs being dropped, and then Warframe is just like, well, you want a fashion? Like,
that
so
that is kind of the meme of like, yeah, the PC players for Warframe are the QA team, but I think that's less relevant now ever since they rolled out the test cluster server for the partner program, which I don't know how that's going to work for the new creator program. I'm assuming that it's going to be everyone who's a creator has access to the test cluster. I don't know, but excuse me. Ever since they rolled out the test cluster server, it's become a little bit less of a meme that PC players are the test server of Warframe, which at the same time kind of stays relevant because although I personally like how they finally made a test server after like literally years of people asking for one, the first time they did it for the Railjack changes that they rolled out a few months ago, uh, the test server lasted less than a week. I think it was like 3 days total, and I only got to play for 2 of those days because the third day I was stuck at work, so I only got like at most 48 hours to play through the whole thing. So it was about 2 total days of testing for something that they were going to release in like a week or two, which honestly, if you ask me, just seems like a little bit too tight of a schedule, which is why I like what they're doing with the test server, but assuming that in the future they give people like more time to test it, or just put a bigger gap in between when the test server goes up and when the update goes up, because otherwise it just feels like, hey, we're putting this on the test server even though we're releasing it next week. That just makes it feel like they're using it more for like bug fixes and stuff rather than actual like changing stats.
I'm back. Like I was saying, with like you were saying with the content creator partner thing that they're gonna be doing, um, I'm just I am curious how that would work if they plan on making the test server exclusive only to their, next upcoming partners and everything. So, given the amount of people that will most likely be in the content creator partner, whatever it's called, when it comes out, I just wonder, based on how DE servers work, would that work? Because DE servers are very wonky. That's one of the biggest issues I've always had in the game. It is the most wonky thing out there. Just imagine, like, if you're in Railjack and you finally got, like, I don't know, 5,000 of those parts that you were looking for, right? 5,000 ore. You're like, yes, I finally got it. And then you just get disconnected or your game crashes. How infuriating that would be. So with the private server, it's just like all those people coming online. I don't know how that would really work. I think they really need to like work on their servers. That's definitely something that they need to do. So that way people don't have like a lot of disconnection issues or network issues or crashing whatever with the game. So that's one of their like I think one of their biggest flaws as a game. But yeah, it's just private
Maybe they're
for
gonna
that many people.
maybe they're gonna
Hmm?
split it up into like separate categories. Like everyone is technically a Warframe partner or content creator, but one person, such as an artist or a capture artist, might just be like a regular creator, and they just get basic stuff like day one access and all that stuff. But like an actual content
Yeah,
creator on YouTube might actually be given like exclusive access to the test cluster because obviously they make
yeah,
content on
that.
YouTube, and having access to the test cluster would make it pretty easy to make a video talking about uh changes that are upcoming or what should be changed, stuff like that.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense, but we'll see how they think of that stuff.
Also, I'm surprised I haven't asked already, but what are
All
your
right.
thoughts on Kuva liches? Because a lot of people haven't really liked them even after they rolled out the fucking Warframe revised update, which I think was the one that also made the changes to Kuva liches so they're less annoying.
Honestly, the only thing I would really care about with Kuva liches is the Kuva Brahma. That's that's really all I really care about.
Really?
Everything else to do with Kuvas, yep, I am not really a fan of it. Um, and this is just based on my own opinions, really. I find that it's too long. It's not what I expected. They say it was supposed to make it where it gets stronger every single time you meet up with it. It doesn't feel like that due to just how powerful my weapons are. I could just easily just, couple shots is dead. It's really nothing really to it for me exactly. I was honestly hoping, again, like how they were showing it at Railjack, like during like TennoCon 2018 with Railjack, how the liches would be a part of it and everything. But I feel like because they completely switched it up, that's what completely turned me off from the Kuva liches. That's what really turned me off about it. I was expecting for me to fight them on like a ship. I was thinking that was gonna be so cool, and they just completely changed that. For what reason, I do not know. It didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, for me, I don't really like Kuva liches because one, that, two, they're very long. Three, the system for it is, I don't know, it's kind of lame for me. I don't like the whole pattern system. It's unique, yeah, for sure, but it just seems lame. It seems boring to me. And all of that just really to get a weapon. That's really all it is for. I don't really know what else you get from it. You just get a weapon. On top of that, if you've never done Kuva liches before, you're gonna spend a lot of time grinding to try to get those Requiem mods. So it's just a long, stretched out process in the end for just a weapon. And on top of that, I don't know if you could confirm this is true or not, but really, if you kill the lich, does it get stronger? Because I haven't noticed that. I've taken on a lich twice and I haven't noticed it getting stronger at all, which is one of the big things I was looking for. I was like, yes, a challenge, nice. And a couple of shots is dead for me. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's really nothing.
Nah, from the
And
way
honestly,
that. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, and honestly, if you think about it, if you get your Requiem mods right all at one time, it's not gonna, even if it does have a system where it gets stronger, you're just gonna kill it one time. You know what I mean? It's not gonna, because it's not gonna come back. Once you get your Requiem mods set up in the right order, that's it. It's done. You can kill it or mercy it. I mean, most people would kill it just for the weapon, and that's really it. But I don't know. It's boring to me, if I'm being honest.
From my understanding, I'm pretty sure that the reason why they changed it from what they showed off at TennoCon being like a Kuva lich is something you have to work towards that takes literally like days to get to. The reason why they cut it down from days to you can literally kill one in less than a day, assuming you want to play that much, is because they give Kuva weapons, and although Kuva weapons are fine in my opinion, having to spend days upon days on end just to get one just seems a little bit excessive. And because Warframe is already itself a little bit casual rather than hardcore, not many people really have that much time to sink into Warframe. So for them, it just seemed better overall to make it so you could get a Lich and kill it in the exact same day you get it, and you get a weapon quick that way. Or alternatively, you could just buy a Kuva weapon off somebody else, even though technically you're just buying a Lich off somebody else, but that still gives you a weapon, so who really cares?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm actually surprised. I actually didn't know that with TennoCon. That was the whole idea, making liches be based on how many days, like having a set amount of days to kill it.
That was actually
Or
something
taking days to kill it.
they actually did bring it up in a dev stream. I forgot which one it was, but it was basically Steve said something along the lines of, "Why is it that liches can be killed in less than a day instead of like weeks of farming and stuff?" He said something like that, and his answer to that was basically, "We realized that having to spend days, multiple days, just to get one weapon is really excessive. So we decided to shorten that loop, which that's a decision that I agree with personally because I don't.
100%.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know anyone who would want to spend fucking at least 2 weeks just to get one weapon because that's really
Yeah,
excessive.
no way.
But
That's absurd. That's
yeah,
I
but
would love though. I would
I,
love if they incorporated that into Railjack, like that short thing into Railjack, and actually had the liches as what they were supposed to be. with the shortened time on Railjack, that would make things a lot cooler. That would give me a reason to play Railjack more, because I could be like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to taking on this boss. Oh yeah, he's now like 5 times stronger. That's cool. You know what I mean? So
At the same time,
yeah,
I feel like the overall idea of Kuvaliches kind of suffered because they said that Kuvaliches were originally going to be like it's an enemy that you'll have to fight against, that they're strong like you, but they have a relationship with you that builds over time because they take so long to get. But then they kind of just decided to shorten it from literally weeks of trying to kill one lich to you can kill one lich in one day. That whole idea kind of suffered, and because they changed that after TennoCon happened, I feel like that's the reason why people don't really have a good impression of Kuvaliches to begin with anyway. Because it went from a quote unquote rival that we would have to spend a significant amount of time trying to like fight and stuff like that. Whereas when they came out, it was just a buffed enemy that you could kill in a day if you really want to spend that much time killing Kuva thralls.
yeah. I actually never knew that they even had that system, or before, where they wanted to keep that for like weeks on end. But I am sure, definitely glad that they did keep it within a day. So yeah, that's definitely a lot better, because I thought it was kind of long and drawn out. Now she can only imagine if they had that system before. If you had weeks or like had to take weeks in order to kill that lich, that would definitely suck.
There are times when I have to ask if they really think something through all the way, because when Kuva Liches came out, the weapons at first weren't tradable. Now they are, but that's only because there's some wonky loophole where you have to make a separate room in your dojo, and what you do is you trade Kuva, or you can either trade or buy a Kuva Lich off somebody else, which technically gives you the weapon, but you have to kill the lich first. And to begin with, that only works if you don't have a lich to begin with. So that kind of just boils down to you're literally paying somebody else to give you their Kuva Lich.
I mean, but is that really bad though? I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really see the issue of it. Like, for example, if you really want to get a weapon and want to avoid having to go through fighting a bunch of liches and taking hours or days each time to fight a lich.
I wasn't.
Because, for example, a weapon.
No, I wasn't trying to
Go.
imply that it's bad. If it did sound like I'm
Oh.
saying that it's bad, it's because I'm just drinking
Oh.
right now. That's the alcohol talking. But
Okay.
honestly, it's. I just find it weird how they advertised Kuvaliches as you finally have like a rival or an enemy to work against, something that's gonna actually take some modicum of effort to like actually kill. But then right after they reveal it at TennoCon, they just change it so it's nothing at all like what we were advertised. So
Exactly.
besides Kuvaliches being nothing at all like what we were teased for, Railjack was completely different, and that did not go over well either. Hey.
That's pretty much my biggest issue with the liches, honestly. And again, it doesn't feel like a challenge for me. What's the only challenge for me is just getting the Requiem mods right. Once I get that right, it's like it's a breeze. The enemy, it's not even that hard. It doesn't even feel like it's me that I'm fighting against. Because one thing I've noticed is when you like first get your lich, it usually takes on like a form of what frame you killed it with. So my first time with the lich was with Grendel, right? Because I was trying to grind for Grendel to level him up, and that's when the lich found me, and that's when I killed it, and it became like where it had like the Grendel attachments or whatever, because that's what I killed it with. But didn't feel like I was fighting anything to do with Grendel at all, or I didn't have a challenge at all. It was really, really simple. In fact, I used another Warframe completely, but it was so easy to like defeat. nothing was challenging about it. It was really just figuring out what the Requiem mods were, and that was it in the end. So honestly, that's probably one of my that's also that's basically my biggest issue. It doesn't feel challenging. It just feels like a walk in the park, just long because of the Requiem mod system.
Yeah, I remember when Steve said that Kuvaliches would. Well, the basis for them was that they would want you to kill them because then they could steal like a Warframe power and stuff like that. But what we got instead was basically they changed their abilities based on what Warframe you killed them with, and literally the same day that the same day that the Old Blood update came out that released the Kuvaliches, somebody came out with a Google document that had a list of like every single power that that Kuvaliches would get based on what Warframe you killed them with and all that stuff. So the fact that somebody figured that out in 24 hours, that's just kind of sad in my opinion.
Really, yeah, it is.
That's the equivalent of like. Actually, no, it's not the equivalent. It's the exact same thing, kind of. When they were showing off Railjack at TennoCon, they said that the Veil would be like a high-level area, or that one zone that would take you like actual time to get to. The update where they launched Railjack, people were there within 24 hours. Just speed running that. Because apparently difficulty, quote unquote, doesn't exist unless it's an enemy that has a higher level, or it can just tank everything you throw at it.
Yeah, that honestly makes me think. Like, I think when it comes to difficulty in Warframe, you just saying difficulty reminded me of something. Do you know how they were talking about the easy, normal, and hard mode system that they have that they plan on incorporating?
Yeah, Rebecca said on a recent stream that they're planning on putting in the hard mode in the test cluster server next weekend, supposedly.
Oh, okay. But there isn't a partner thing anymore, so I guess it'll be for everyone, or maybe it'll be exclusive. I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I
guess
don't know if she meant that they're testing it right now, or if they're just gonna say fuck it and let partners test it, even if the program is technically dead. I don't know, but
yeah.
I just know that she said next weekend they're gonna throw that into test cluster.
Oh, I guess we'll see what happens with that. But like I was saying though, with the modes that they plan on incorporating, the only thing with that I hope that they somehow incorporate, which will make things really nice, is how smart the enemy AI is. Just adding more armor or more levels to an enemy doesn't make things any like harder. Maybe to a certain extent, depending on what frame you're using. Like you might have to roll around more and stuff. But I wish the enemy AI would get smarter and not just have much higher stats. Because, for example, I've played the game Star Wars. What was it? There was like a new game that came out. Jeez, I forgot the name of it. Star Wars Last something. It wasn't like Last Jedi, but it was like one of the new Star Wars games that came out. It was like Dark Souls themed, and basically, when you turned up the difficulty, it wasn't just that the enemy would only hit harder, but they would be smarter. The parries would be a lot. You have a lot shorter time in order to parry. The enemies would dodge more often. They would use their powers more often. You know what I mean? So I just hope they incorporate something like that into the new system, because just giving enemies more boosted stats that just kill you a lot faster it doesn't really feel like that's just harder. And besides, we have so many mods now in the game and so many different frames, especially with shield gating, that doesn't really matter anymore. I'm not going to have to worry about getting two-shotted. Like just the other day, I was able to do 500 plus with Korra with a breeze, and I didn't even really die at all. I was like, it was so easy for me thanks to the whole shield gating and adding rolling guard and all of that. So it doesn't really feel much like a challenge. But if enemies had like a new system where they probably would dodge or protect each other, or just have a much smarter AI where the enemies would work together more, perhaps, like I think that would make things a bit more challenging when it comes to killing them and keeping yourself alive. So I don't know how they're gonna really do that, but I have a feeling it's just gonna be like what I'm hoping it's not going to be, where it's just higher level enemies, some more armor, some harder hitting bullets, and that's it, really.
I like how this exact same topic of better AI overall, it's been brought up by a lot of other people. Like, I think Ashisagi Tenno was the first person who brought it up in a podcast. Then
Yeah,
Relentless Zen literally mentioned it a few hours ago when I was doing it with him. It
right.
it's kind of upsetting almost how everyone is screaming for the exact same thing, but we don't have it.
Yeah, yeah.
It almost no, it almost ties in a little bit to how a lot of people are just not really interested in playing overall because they ask for a thing and we don't get it until months, maybe even years later. Kind of like how the other day when I was recording with Kevin Glint, he said that he hasn't really played Warframe since February, so he kind of missed
Right.
He kind of missed Railjack. He did like a little bit of Kuva not much, and the whole reason why he's not really happy with the game, at least from my understanding of what he said, is that they're more focused on releasing more content rather than quality of life content. Even though quality of life is, in my opinion, a lot more valuable because the Warframe revised update that they released in, I think it was like April, maybe May, it was actually pretty good. But the reason why no one really talks about it or even recognizes that it happened is because Scarlet Spear happened like right around the same time, and Scarlet Spear was like fucking trash. So that's all that people really remember.
Yeah. Scarlet Spear was way too repetitive,
Yeah,
honestly.
I
Which
had
is
to.
something
Ugh.
which is another issue with Warframe. It's now with the Deadlock Protocol was a little bit less like that, but that's been some of the biggest, honestly, the biggest flaw that I saw with Warframe, honestly, for the past 2 years. Well, see, grind, I don't mind grind. You see, it's a looter shooter. That's Warframe. You're gonna have grind. Destiny 2, again, is a looter shooter. You're gonna have grind. It isn't a big deal. But see, I'm not trying to compare and say Destiny 2 is better than Warframe. Not at all. But you see, the Destiny 2, it has a way of grinding that makes it enjoyable. You see? You actually have to do quests, you know what I mean? You gotta do PvP, you gotta do certain things, and it's like you scale up as you go. It isn't just you gotta do this mission 30 times and that's it. That's Warframe's issue. It's where you have to do the same mission like like 50 times every day and hope that you get something. And something like that is just way too repetitive for me, which is why I prefer when Warframe adds like the whole quest system instead of just making something grind, because they were doing that for like the longest while. They were doing that with Grendel, they were doing that with Garuda. I don't know what other frames they did that with Gauss, Gauss. They were doing that so much where it's just like, here's an update, go do this mission like 50 times and hope that you get it. Like, that's not fun, at least in my opinion. I don't mind grind, but doing something over and over and over in the exact same method, it's just the same repetition. It's just so lame. So I'm hoping that, like with Deadlock Protocol, they can keep that sort of thing going rather than just like making updates, just grind this and just do this mission like 50 times. Like, that's just so lame, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's kind of sad how I've been obsessing over and just like downing all of my time on Final Fantasy XIV, which is an MMO, as in the kind of game that is literally designed to consume as much of your life as possible. But every single time I load up Warframe, I kind of have to force myself to like actually do sorties and Nightwave and all that stuff. Because while I'm playing through that, I'm like, I could be playing Final Fantasy XIV right now. Why am I here? Just to suffer, or something like that. And
yeah.
oh man, I mean, I don't hate Warframe. It's just I don't enjoy it as much as Final Fantasy XIV, which is a game I recently got into, like 2, maybe 3 months ago, and that was just completely because I was asking on my Discord, what game could I get into to consume my life? I've been looking at Final Fantasy 14. What do you guys think? And everyone was like, no. And I said, why? And they said, because if you get into that game, you're not going to come back. And I kind of see what they mean, because a lot of
100%, bro.
a lot of other people I've spoken with who also play it have said that they either just can't stop playing it, or they have to like balance real life shit with it just because it's addicting as shit. Oh man.
Honestly, that is such facts. When I got into Final Fantasy, bro, that's when my upload schedule really went down. I'm curious, have you beat the entire game yet? Like the entire main story, or no? You
Yeah.
haven't?
I'm at quote
You
unquote
have?
I'm at quote unquote end game right now. Like Memoria Misera Extreme, I can do that no problem. Last week I did Eden's verse 5 Savage with my FC. Otherwise, yeah, I quote unquote beat the main story. Why?
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I was curious. I cannot wait until like the new patch drops for the main story, because man, I was left on like such a cliffhanger. I was like, bro, how are you gonna do that to me? Like, oh my goodness. I'm like, there's so much that's gonna come. But yeah, I could definitely agree with that, with the whole Final Fantasy thing. Like it really takes your time, because it does it in a good way. You know what I mean? It's not like everything's repetitive. It's always something new as you're going along, which is something I wish Warframe had. It's always something new as you go along. Destiny 2 does the same thing. It's always something new as you go along. It isn't just like do this mission like 50 times just to get this, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
It's
I just wish Warframe had
it's,
progression,
it's interesting
better
because
progression.
at least in high level areas like I'm just gonna call Eden's verse as a high level area. I don't really know if that's accurate
Yeah.
or not, but
Okay.
I think it was Yoshi P, the creative director of Final Fantasy XIV, who said that he wants to make the game in a way that doesn't force people to play, which is why in areas such as Eden's verse, which is endgame by people's standards right now, I would say, every single time you
Yeah.
run that, it gives you a guaranteed drop of like a coin slash resource that you can use to buy end game gear, but at the same time it also drops loot you can roll for that's also end game. That way, if you have really shitty luck and you don't get anything out of an end game run, you at least get something out of it. That way you can always try again next time and then just buy something quote unquote end game, because obviously RNG is a big factor in everyone's fucking playthrough, and you're not always going to get what you want.
Right.
So forcing people to grind for something that is powerful just seems like a waste of time on their half when they don't have a guaranteed way of getting what they want, which is something that I really like about Final Fantasy right now, where even if I have the worst luck in the world, if I just keep doing the same endgame areas over and over, eventually I'm gonna get what I want instead of having to pray to RNGesus that I get the thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's sad and kind of funny how
Yeah.
most of the time when I do this recording shit, I always bring up Final Fantasy 14. I'm pretty sure it's just because I started playing it, but eventually
Yeah.
it always loops to Final Fantasy 14. Oh
Yeah,
man.
trust me, it's a really good game, I have to say. Very, very great game.
Man, I really feel bad if people are tired of me saying it, but oh man, it's such a good game, and I feel bad for not playing it sooner. Holy fucking shit.
Seriously, it's really a good game. I was honestly, before I started Final Fantasy, I was like, I'm not too sure. I was looking at the graphics and stuff. I'm like, this game was like made in like what, like 2012 or something. We'll see. I'll try it. Tried it. I was like, it's okay. And literally a week later, I'm just on it like every day for like 10 hours straight. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. The game, it really does something. There was so much to look forward to in that game.